Hello everyone, behind me, this magical door, you can see a Lovable logo. We're in the HQs in the heart of Stockholm, in the world's fastest growing software company. We're going to meet its founders, we're going to meet lots of team members. So the first thing you see, this is amazing. They have a philosophy of not going shoes, I don't know if you can see. No shoes philosophy, kind of Steve Jobs, Atari's era. So yeah, let's come and let's take off the shoes. It's crazy. We're here with the myth, the legend, Anton, in the heart of Stockholm. I'm very happy, and thank you very much, Anton. Just for the audience, to have a little context, you just went through a 20-hour hackathon, and I know it's literally yesterday, so you're quite tired, and you made it, so we appreciate the effort. I know how you do it. I know where you get your energy. Perhaps I'll ask you a question about that, yeah. So
great to talk.
Thank you very much for the Spanish audience. And yeah, I want to go straight forward. What's the ARR of Lovable?
So we're well north of $100 million in the ARR. We will share more public figures soon. But well north.
That's crazy. And
growing faster than ever.
How many websites are being built in Lovable right now, more or less?
It's 100,000 new every day.
100,000 new every day?
Yeah.
So I imagine every day also this data gets actualized, no?
The data gets actualized.
Yeah, like every day it changes.
It changes more, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. And how long ago was Lovable founded?
We started the company 1.5 years ago.
This is crazy. So I know everybody starts the podcast like this because it's such an amazing data. You're the fastest growing company Europe in the world. This is absolutely amazing. So we're going to deep dive into how was Lovable built. I want to also get to know you personally, the CEO founder behind the company, if that's fine for you.
Yep.
But before starting, I want to, so you have the claim, the last piece of software. What's the future? What are you envisioning for Lovable right now?
So we think that humans who don't know how to write code have the best ideas because 99% don't know how to write code. Mm. And the last piece of software means that it's the last piece of software that's written by humans and the team here, and from that you will be able to generate everything else that you need software wise.
Yeah. So just a brief, Lovable, how it works is you write plain English and then you can build literally anything, right?
Yeah. So Lovable lets anyone take their idea and build a full product as a founder or a website in just a few minutes by explaining in plain English what you want. And then you get a published website on the internet or an application.
Real quick, how did Lovable came up to?
Yeah, so the product was just launched in late November, so that's 8 months ago, and that was after I built the previous similar like code generation tool. We called it GPT Engineer, after I built the first version of that, I realized, hey, you shouldn't be building an AI coding tool for developers. You should be building it for everyone who don't know how to write code. Mm-hmm. And that realization is what made me bike to my co-founder's place and be like, Fabian, and tell Fabian we have to start a company here and build the last piece of software so that anyone can create really, really good products, mm-hmm. which is difficult. So and that's where the name.
I want to understand the philosophy behind Lovable and its mission, of course. So it's to basically reach anyone everywhere to not only like that tech ecosystem, right?
Yes.
How would you describe that more deeply?
How I think about it is that software has been eating the world over the last few decades, and all of the really large successful companies have been tech companies, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. and still it's been very difficult and gatekept in being able to create good software. You need a lot of money to hire very, very specialized skill sets. What the team here at Lovable has done is to look at what are the core things you need to have to create good software products, and package that together and create a very intuitive and fun mm-hmm. AI interface so that all of those pieces, those Lego blocks, are put together by the AI, and you can build your personal website. You can build your tool for automating a lot of things with AI. With Lovable, or but the most common one is that individuals that want to start a company, they build the software product on Lovable, and then people have made millions of dollars on Lovable products.
It's crazy. So I really liked this Lego block building. How would you describe, what would be your description of the concept builder? What's a builder for you?
So traditionally, I think a builder has been someone who's more of like an engineer, but I want to expand and just think of someone that likes to create things. And I think all humans want to create things at heart. It's just you often need to find like the right tool that resonates with you. So our mission is to expand that segment of people who think of themselves as builders who create things, and just unleash a lot more of this human creativity that's out there who wants to create things.
That's great. I popped in a couple of tweets you've made. I know you're active in that social media, or X right now. So you've said the main drivers for growing a company comes down to 1, great team, 2, obsession to build a great product, and 3, not being afraid to communicate what you do. If you can explain real quick each one, and especially the last one, not being afraid to communicate what you do, because you're quite transparent with everything. So that's something new, I think, in the tech world.
So on the team side, there are many different ways to construct a great team, but I think one constituent that is important is that you have individuals that really want to work together and work really well as a team together and care about the team part and care about the work, the products you're building part. And then for us, it's been important to have very, very specific technical expertise that's absolutely world class. That has been important to us. And having that together with like a deep understanding of what is a great experience for a human that uses our product. And that's what the team put together. And I often like to put people together who are different and complement each other. Me and my co-founder complement each other quite well, actually. So that's on the team side. And the second one, obsession about building a product.
Obsession to build a great product.
Look, there's always like more things to improve in the product. And they need many cycles of iteration, and you can't build a great product by a product manager saying this is the product we should build, engineer, you build it. You need at every level people to be obsessed about the details and go through the iteration loops and realize something isn't as perfect as it should be, and fixing that, polishing that, and that's what you need.
And the word obsession is quite strong, but
yes.
Can you describe what's being obsessed like?
Well, obsession is something like, if it's not what you want it to be, you can't fall asleep. Like you just have to fix it. That's how I think about obsession.
Awesome. And the last one, not being afraid to communicate what you do. Why are you so transparent when most tech companies, let's say, they're quite private?
No, I think humans, they don't like to look at ads. They like to get as much information that's actually close to the source what's actually happening. I think that's what podcasts are great as well. Like I haven't scripted anything here. I don't know to say to answer your questions. And so you want it really, really raw. And if you have content that is kind of interesting and raw, then more people will be interested in hearing about you. So that's why I think you should just be very transparent and open, and more people will want to hear about you and want to follow your story. And if you have a good product, they will also want to buy your product. Right? But that's how I think about it.
Thank you. I really like it's not just you throwing words out. Like we're here in the offices, and everything is literally transparent. Each office, and like the team, I hear you, world class team. Shout out to fellow guy I met, Tirso from Spain. You have him here. We're talking awesome. Around. So it's, and of course the product is quite amazing. What do you think most founders nowadays, AI tool founders, are doing wrong in that sense? What would be your message to them?
So if you're building an AI tool, I think like what Y Combinator always tells you is build and talk to users. And like really talk to users and see them using your tool in action. That part is usually something people can become better at, and it's a difficult one. What's been very useful for us in terms of like getting that feedback loop, like talking to user, is that we have dedicated sessions every week where we use the product ourselves, and we find all the parts of like, how is it being stupid? What should we change? And that works for some products. I think it works if we are productive at using our own product. If you're building for someone who's very different to yourself, like you're building for an accountant, you don't know accounting, then you really have to sit down with them a lot. And that, I think that's true for all software products. With AI, maybe even more so, because the AI tools have a less predictable outcome. So there is, like, if you think in terms of the user experience for someone, an accountant coming in and using a simple accounting tool, it's quite predictable. Like, you just have to, there are very few things that can happen. You click add a receipt and then the receipt is added. But if you create an AI tool, the AI can go out and do all crazy things. And that's why you need to really see this feedback loop of what actually happens, what are the problems, when is it good, when is it bad, even more than with the normal software.
That's awesome. I want to, so I'm a marketer myself, and I want to know, like, if you could compare marketing versus product, what's your take on that? And perhaps a percentage of resources should be to one to other. It's quite a open question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's fun to study companies and see that there are completely different types of companies that just do product, they just do marketing, like almost. I think for us, we have to always keep product as the absolute top priority, and doing marketing should come on top of that. If you do both well, it's huge. You are growing much faster than someone that just does product well.
Of course.
Right. So I don't have a magical recipe. It depends a bit on what you're good at as well. It's like, if you can be best in the world at marketing but not on product, you should probably do more of that. If you're really bad at marketing, you should still do some. Find a way to do some. And you should probably, if you're a founder, you should probably learn how to do marketing, because otherwise you're going to hire someone and it's going to be impossible for you to understand if they're the right person for the job, or if you should complement them with someone else or replace them with someone else. So you should probably learn a bit of that.
Because you're quite a marketer yourself, like what you've done. I see your tweets also. How do you? What's your profile like? How do you do? You're quite polymath
for marketing, or you mean profile? Myself.
Yeah, you yourself. Okay. I see you as, like, obviously a very technical person, but also you have this marketing.
Okay.
How would you define yourself?
Yeah, it's interesting. So look, I when I was a kid, I was super introverted, and then someone asked me, like, when I became a teenager and I started being more like outgoing, what's one of the important things you learned in life? And my answer surprised me a bit myself. Like, if you just do things, you get result, like you get feedback and see what happens, and that's like bias to action is what makes me a better marketer, I guess, than most founders.
Okay.
Because I just see what happens if I post on social media or similar, and I'm curious to see what type of content people like.
Is that the philosophy that you have, and also Lovable as a company has? Like, let's just execute, let's just do and see what happens.
Yeah.
What can you develop on that? Move fast and break things, like they say in the valley.
Yeah. So I definitely think that's like part of the DNA in our team. As we have people who are very, very seriously using a product today. We should only do that in some areas, like not on the core, like on the core infrastructure, security. You have to be super, super cautious these days, and rethink what type of people we're hiring for, what type of DNA we are hiring for. So now there's some parts where we can innovate and try out a lot of new things in the product on how we talk about the business, but we are also much more defensive in many areas.
So you tweeted this one. I'm really curious.
Okay.
You say that building in Europe is a competitive advantage. I have companies in Spain. I don't see it that way.
Okay.
Very bureaucratic. You've been obviously lots of times in San Francisco, I imagine, and I've seen. Why are you not in SF, which is the capital for AI? Why are you here in Stockholm?
Fair question.
Amazing city, by the way. But
I'm here because I know that where you're located is something people over-index on, and you can build a global category-defining generational company that leads their category from anywhere in the world if you assemble the right people.
Okay, that's interesting. People like local talent, and of course, people also come here because it's a great location in comparison to others, like I don't know, Singapore, Dubai, or depends on which New York. No.
Yeah, so these are all good places. I just think you can do it in Europe. What we have going for us is that there's more raw talent, and we are the number one talent magnet in Stockholm, right?
Yeah,
so that is a competitive advantage. There are also many reasons. You mentioned bureaucracy, and like moving people around in Europe is quite easy, but there are things that are beneficial in the US. Like there are more people who have scaled companies from 100 million ARR to billions of ARR and have that skill, very valuable skill set in the US. So for many reasons it is what I say playing on hard mode to build from Europe. But I know it can be done, and it's execution is all that matters. The team is all that matters. So it can be done.
Do you think also there's an exponential factor just to close this theme? Like you have Spotify, which like is here, I believe, in Stockholm. The HQs, they opened the market, and then you have the Skype founder. Like you have several founders that have pushed, and then perhaps Lovable is the next generation for other founders to build here. Do you think there's an exponential into the?
Yeah, look, I think if I go back, like why am I a founder? It's always about seeing someone else doing something, getting inspired. Like that's that's why humans do things. And there's been a lot of these stories in Stockholm that prove that it could be done. And I think I want to see more of those stories here. I want to see more of those stories in other places in Europe. And I know that will cause the next generation or the current generation of potential founders to be more successful.
Awesome. So Lovable's values, another tweet is tip fast, ownership, and no shoes.
Yeah.
We're currently without shoes.
Great.
So I asked, this is the first office I've been in Stockholm, if this is normal. They've told me that this is not the norm.
Yeah.
So if we could go with chip fast, ownership, and of course no shoes, can you explain why?
So we spoke about the chip fast, like just being bold and thinking in terms of like, does this make sense? And rather than copying someone else, it has been the key to our success. Our product has been absolutely leading in this category since we started. High ownership, as I said, like I think the most important thing is you have a team that really cares, and that requires a lot of ownership. And then no shoes, I think it's a bit random. We got this new office, and my co-founder said, "How about we don't use shoes?" And it caught on. And I think it's obviously was a great decision to not have shoes.
Obviously, 100%. I thought it was more like deep, like Steve Jobs kind of thing in Atari. Like I don't know, I went deep into it, so it was just a casual.
It creates a much more friendly atmosphere. So I think it's very good to not have shoes.
Amazing. So I want to talk real quick into the growth channels. You've obviously grew so fast, so little time. You've said reportedly it has been that 12 different growth channels to acquire new users. What's something unconventional that you guys made to reach the status that you made, distribution-wise and growth-wise?
So unconventional, I think I kept posting interesting things on social media, and I worked with two people who are actually engineers, but they also have a good feeling for social media. And we sat down like, okay, how do we create value in with the Twitter thread, for example, explaining like how did we become successful, and we made sure to do that as well as having something unique to talk about. And I think that was like one of the keys to our success.
Do you think was there like one tweet, one campaign, one thing that skyrocketed, or you think it was multiple?
No, it was just the product being so good, and then so it would have. I would love to know how much where we would have been without any marketing. I think like today where AI is such an advantage, like Lovable creates so much value compared to how you did before, and it kind of happens so fast. the most people aren't aware of how powerful the recent tools are. Like things are happening on such a quick time scale. So in some sense, marketing becomes more valuable. Like there's such a big gap in like how much value can be created and how much people know much value can be created, and that's why I think marketing is important these days. Again, you asked about like the different channels. I think understanding social media yourself is valuable, even if you're doing performance marketing, which we don't do really. It's like paying for like sponsored videos. Understanding social media is key to that as well these days, because it's like you pay for TikTok videos and you have to understand social media for that.
Would you say this is a random specific question, but lots of companies use enemies, for example, like in the days Apple, like the big blue IBM, you know, kind of thing, or nowadays like with X, like freedom of speech, Elon Musk really pushed on that. Do you think, because Lovable, you push on loving the product, but is there an enemy, you know?
I think we're thinking in terms of empowering anyone to create. Awesome. And the enemy is like how difficult it has been to code. And otherwise I prefer to not be too combative with other people. You might have seen that I sometimes do tweet about other people in the space, which I think is a bit fun.
I know. I saw the billboard also yesterday with the Cluedy guys. Really awesome. You guys have you know each other? I imagine. No? Yeah. That's awesome. Is it really possible in a very near future, and if you can predict, to have a solopreneur building a unicorn? Yeah,
I'm confident that will be possible to happen. I have no idea when. It's hard to predict when.
But it's possible, right? We're gonna see it soon.
Yeah, we're gonna see it.
That's awesome. And what's the safest job nowadays?
The safest job? I mean, it's a good question. I think it's something that only you can do. Like if only you can do your podcast. I think that's a good bet. If only you can do it. If it has to like do with like a computer cannot do it specifically. I mean, maybe other humans can do it, but not a computer. It's a pretty good job as well. And it might be that it's safe to do things like being a plumber or a hairdresser. But I would recommend more like being an entrepreneur, where you have to constantly innovate, relearn all the time, and that is actually much safer than being an office worker, where large companies will soon be disrupted and need to do large layoffs.
Yeah, we're going to go to a quick, more personal questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I have my girlfriend here behind. I know both you and your wife are entrepreneurs.
True.
So I wanted to, Dora, like very successful entrepreneurs, both of you. So that's quite unique to also see. I want to just know, like, how is it? Does it get competitive? How do you work-life balance? How's that? And any tips, for other entrepreneurial couples out there?
Very interesting question. I mean, make sure to get time together where it's just you two. And I think ideally, like every day, you get some time and where you are put away your phones and just look at each other, spend some time together. Okay. That's what I would recommend. And then if there's any shared like passions that you do, exercise I think is the most important thing to be doing as a busy founder for your like productivity even. Of course. So, and if you can share that together, that's also a pro tip.
I know you're a runner. Yeah. One last question before the quick fire questions. Do you have any mentors, or do you rely more on AI to get those insight and answers?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's super productive to ask AI how would you do this? Like, I'm hiring this type of role. What should even be the criteria for making the hire? But I do have at least one mentor that I talk to every week, which is very productive for me.
Awesome. So a physical mentor.
A person.
A person. Okay. So we're going for some quick fire questions. So what do you do differently than 90% of the people?
I I'm very biased to action, and I think you can always solve a problem much faster than people think, and I push on solving problems much faster than people are used to.
Awesome. What advice would you give a 5-year-old?
A 5-year-old, I don't. It's same as I give all my friends. Just use a lot of AI tools, become good at using the AI tools, and then that's going to pay off.
What's the smartest guy you've met?
Smartest guy I've met.
Yeah, these are like deep questions. You're thinking fast.
I think like one thing I think is super interesting is like philosophy and the future of humanity. I met Nick Bostrom a few times, which is this Swedish philosopher, polymath, who I enjoy spending time with.
Awesome. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I'd love to sit down with Mark Zuckerberg actually, because it's just so interesting how he's like had the worst brand in history, and then now he's like trying hard to flip it, and like he's doing some really crazy things for a $1 trillion company's CEO, and he feels like one of the people I know the least from big tech profiles.
You root for personal brands, right? You think they're positive, no?
I mean, personal brands are good.
It's quite obvious, but
it communicates how the company is going to operate if you know the personal brand behind it.
Greatest invention in human history?
Okay, so there are many inventions that are good and bad. I think AI might be one of them, but something that's I just love biking. It's such a fun freedom thing where you don't need an engine or anything. So I'm tempted to say the bicycle probably. There are of course much more productive things like the something that saved a lot of human lives. Fertilizers made it possible for humans to not starve.
I know we ran out of time. I wanted to have some longevity, and I know quantum physics. Also, a couple of questions I had, but maybe we'll leave it for the next. And one last advice.
We have to do a new session then.
Yeah, we have
longevity and physics.
You will, if you have a last advice for entrepreneurs that are starting, or just general, if like let's imagine that 8 billion people are listening. It's being translated to every language. What would be your final mantra? Billboard?
No, I think do work that makes you challenge, learn, and not be too stressed. So figure out a way to find that work, and if that's building a company, that's amazing, because I think that's the most rewarding. Like unlocks most of human potential to try to build a business. 100%. Thank
you very much, Anton, for your time. You're doing history. The first time I was with my girlfriend, the first time I tried Lovable. And she can remember that time. I was so amazed because I was like 4 months trying to build a side project, and I did it like in 5 minutes, but like not even 5 minutes. It was 5 minute wait, you know? Yeah. And I was like goosebumps in that moment, and the product has gone better and better. This was like 5-6 months ago. So thank you very much for everything you're doing for the entrepreneur and for coming after this 20-hour hackathon. You're an amazing guy and amazing
Thank you so much.
Also. Thank you very much.
So much. Great to talk.
Bye-bye. So we're here with the one and only
Fabian.
Yeah, and he's the co-founder, CTO of Lovable. This is amazing philosophy. We're with no shoes. We're just, I thought it was in Sweden, it was normal. They tell me it's not the norm.
No, it's just us.
This was your idea, right?
The math is so nice. I don't want to dirty it up. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It seems something more spiritual. I'm gonna lie.
maybe there's something deeper to it. So.
Yeah. So, what would be your advice, real quick, for entrepreneurs, and what do you think people in the AI world, tool building founders, are doing wrong right now?
I would say AI already provides a lot of value, or it has the ability to provide a lot of value. And I think a lot of what we're doing here at Lovable is putting that into the hands of more people. And I think you don't have to overcomplicate things to do that. You can just start building and start finding use cases.
Yeah. In one phrase, what's Lovable's philosophy?
Allow for the 99% of people to build.
And what's the worst advice you've ever heard and would give?
The worst is just work harder, work more, whatever. I would say the best is to really think actively about how you're spending your time and be very critical about every hour you're spending at anything, and ask yourself, am I spending this hour well or not?
Awesome. Thank you very much. We're not gonna mess up your dinner. So amazing company, and we're really gladful to have this open doors. So thanks. So yeah, that's the other co-founder and CTO. That was fun. We had a brief interview with him. So yeah, you can see lots of the team members, amazing. They're all logged in, building amazing things. And what I was explaining, you can see quite transparent. We're not going to show a lot because of the whiteboard confidential information that they can have. But this is literally amazing. What's more amazing, I'm seeing lots of 20-year-olds. So that was I'm like all dressed up, but I'm the old one here. I'm normally, when I'm in the room, I'm the youngest one. Here I feel old, so that's quite a new sensation on me personally. And yeah, here we have the set. The man, the myth, the legend, Sebastian. We're going to get a couple of questions from him. So yeah, we're here with an amazing human being and a lovable professional. We're here with Steve Ballmer, early Steve Ballmer, Alexander Hamilton of the Lovable family. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thanks for having me.
You're behind the success of this hyper growth company. It's amazing what you've done and what you're going to achieve. So first of all, who are you? What's your name?
Yeah, thanks for having me, George. I'm Sebastian, and I wear multiple hats at Lovable. I joined as the first non-technical hire, so thinking about growth, commercial, and like making sure that this amazing product that our engineering team was building for several months actually makes it to our users, and that like we can empower people and hopefully change people's lives.
Prior to Lovable, if you don't mind sharing, what's a small biography? Where did you
so I was a consultant before.
Okay.
Worked across Sweden and Africa, but I always saw myself as a builder from a young age onward. And this almost more as a detour. So I left consulting to build a very similar product to Lovable, and very early in that process met Anton and Fabian and was incredibly impressed by them, by the vision, and the small team that they'd built. It's like, when you come into a room and you feel like you're kind of the stupidest person in that room because there's so much talent density and inspirational people. That's how I felt. So it was a pretty easy decision to say, okay, I'm not going to build something by myself, but I'll join the team and see where I can contribute.
I love I wear different hats, but what, like for the audience, like what do you do or what's a day like in Sebastian's life?
It's diverse. So I focus on product growth. So originally, I started what we do on growth and marketing, and now I look more at the founder ecosystem, right? Where we had you talked to Henrik, who really looks into the integration ecosystem. How can we partner with other technologies? And I think about what do our users need to be successful? How can we help people to get from an 80% version to 100% version? How do we help teach people about how to build with AI? And once they've built a successful app in Lovable, for example, how can we help them to get their users to market, to sell? These are the topics that I try to solve over time and build Lovable into a platform that enables that.
So what was your first priority in Lovable when you, how long have you been in the company in Lovable?
I joined after summer last year.
Okay.
And I mean, we were, I think, 8 people sitting in a little room in a co-working space. It was a different vibe, very, very nerdy and very, very fun. But obviously, no traction in the market yet. A very, very different product.
You're saying it like in the good old days, because I want to ask you afterwards, but you lived several lives in the startup world in this few months. But what's your first mission / priority versus what's it now?
Yeah, I think the first mission was to get users to our apps. We had some very, very committed and dedicated power users, our design partners, who we relied on from the start to figure out what do people use this technology for? If we give them a tool to build theoretically anything, what do they do? And the question was that I asked myself, how do we get from there to having 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 users? And so my mission then was, okay, we need to communicate what the product can do. We need to inspire people, both builders who just need to find a new tool that they can use. And they're very hungry for this, right? They want to build anyways. And we were just building something that makes this easier for them. But then the second part of the problem that is much more difficult to solve was how do we give this tool into the hands of people that never conceived that they could build, right? A lawyer, a doctor, all people who are non-developers and like aren't naturally building something from scratch, but who could now like at least transform some of their processes. And so this was the question I tackled. And we worked with a rebrand to, I think we were called GPT Engineer.
Yeah.
And we felt like that's a bit gimmicky, it's not as catchy. What can people really rally behind? So we decided to go all in on Lovable. And we realized, okay, we need to like launch, we need to communicate with people, we need to build a community. And these are all topics that I worked together with an amazing team on to make happen.
Yeah. How was it like? You mentioned 100, 1,000 customers. How was it like? I want to compare the strategies that you used and the advice that you would give for other founders, gaining those first 1,000 customers versus the first, 10,000 or 100,000 or million.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, it's really doing things that don't scale. And I mean, that's almost, trodden to death, that phrase, but it is very true. For example, we realized that we had one platform, Product Hunt, where there were a lot of these early builders, people that are really interested in new technology, have a pretty low barrier to adopting something that is interesting, and like they were building something themselves. So we were like, this is a great platform to launch. And we directly talked to a lot of them, like other people who were building there, and tried to figure out, what do you need? How is this useful for you? Both to learn, make the product better, and to start getting the word out. So that when we launched there, we made a real dent, and people were excited. People talked to their friends about this, and that's the main loop that we try to activate. Get the first people who are really, really excited about this, have this ChatGPT moment, and then have success, so that they tell their friends who tell their friends. And I think that's very different to now, where we're still like dumbfounded by the growth that we're seeing, because we just want to build a great product that helps people. And now obviously we have to think about, okay, like what kind of platforms can we access? Like what kind of communities can we access? And to make sure that people like learn about the product, but learn about the use cases that are possible to build. Because it's less about the technology, but it's about, if you're a doctor, like what can you build with this technology to help you automate some of this manual workflows that you have? If you're a lawyer, like what can you do? And then obviously like we have so many like founders that start using Lovable like to build very concrete products and niche products.
How do you focus? Like I was just hearing you, and I see so many distribution channels, so many possibilities, so many, like you say, communities, but communities could be so broad. How do you focus? How do you stay on track? And what's the philosophy you have here on Lovable to try new things or perhaps focus on others? I don't know. That's good.
It's a very good question. I would say that there's a bit of ADHD often in the company, where we have all these opportunities, we want to capture everything, but obviously that's not possible. I think what really worked well for us and where we focused on was our social media channels and these early adopter builder communities, people who are solopreneurs, solo builders, and founders. And yeah, I mean, this has been our focus at the start, and then breaking into like new audiences, new topics. That's kind of the new challenge that we have to have.
The lawyers, the doctors, okay, that's very interesting. What would you say it's the like end goal? Perhaps there's so many possibilities, but like the roadmap, vision / mission of Lovable. How do you envision?
Yeah, there's many ways it could go. Of course, we're really focused on building a product that helps people to go from 0 to 1 and to create. And once we have people that really successfully build products, everyone who gets there already asks themselves this question, okay, now how do I get my first 100 users, my first customers? And I think that's one of the next steps that we want to enable, to help people not just build, but to market their solutions. And Lovable could also become an ecosystem where people build, market, but others come to buy, for example. It could be an ecosystem where you maintain your product. And I think we're working very iteratively, and we're seeing what our users need to be successful. But this is kind of like this ecosystem play is the vision that we're moving towards.
That's awesome. One of the last questions. So you come from a big consulting company. Now this is scale up. I know you've been for so many phases. So what what have you learned from being in that big multinational, if we can say, that we can apply, or that startups can apply, and what can startups, what can startups learn from multinationals, and what can multinationals learn from startups? That's a nice question.
It's a good question. I think the way that we approach things is very, very different, right? We, especially early on, it was, okay, let's get something out there, let's test it, let's make sure it breaks, get the feedback, and then iterate. And one of the things that big multinationals do, of course, is that they have a large customer base and they don't want to disappoint their customers. So we've become more careful with how we ship releases, right? We use an early access tester group, for example, that is invaluable in giving us feedback on things before we push them live to our audience. But I think we still maintain the spirit of being super, super agile, and I always have a bias to action. And I think that's very different than a large company would operate on average.
So just to ending, what's your key learnings that you've had here on Lovable?
So many. let me think here for a second.
You still haven't, I think most of you guys still haven't processed what's going on. I imagine it's so intense that you just don't have time to reflect on it, right?
To an extent. I think one of the things that blew me away the most is this community that's building around Lovable. I think the people that I meet every day, the stories that we hear, what people build with Lovable, the impact that they have on their community, the products that they build, how they change their lives, it's amazing. And there's so much willingness to give back. We have amazing people in the community that create courses to inspire others and try to help them understand what they can do with Lovable. And the power of this, I completely underestimated at the begining. 100%. And it's something that is one of the most valuable things for us in growing Lovable and reaching more people.
I think everyone has, I have it, I shared it before. I don't know if this is a good example, but that 9/11 moment or the iPhone launch moment where, when it happened, where you were, I think everyone has that Lovable moment where I remember vividly the first time I used it and saw this amazing technology doing this amazing and lovable things. It's just I remember vividly, the moment. So that's amazing. So yeah, any advice or things you would say for builders out hearing us?
I think it's so much easier than ever to just try and do something. I think back in the day, founders would go out and try to test a script, come up with a wireframe or so. And now it's so easy to just build a prototype quickly to test whether this specific idea would solve a real problem for a significantly large customer group. Mm-hmm. And I think now that it's so easy, I would encourage everyone to just do this. And if you know a problem that needs a solution, build a prototype quickly, go out, test it, and once you have something that gains traction, then go and scale it.
Let's go and scale it. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'm here with...
Thank you. I'm Ludwig. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you also. So what do you do here in Lovable?
Yeah, so I automate stuff people shouldn't spend their time on.
Okay. How long have you been here?
Only a couple of weeks, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What were you doing before Lovable?
I had my own AI agency doing the same thing for
awesome.
other companies. Yeah.
So you're a builder, right?
I'm a builder, and I love to build stuff that people find useful, so they can spend more time on what they do best and have a more meaningful output.
That's awesome. So, what's your mission? Can you explain what you actually do on a day-to-day basis here?
Yeah. So it's really all about obviously identifying what people shouldn't spend their time on, seeing what's worth actually automating, and then actually automating it, whether that's through educating people on how they can do it themselves in a more efficient way, or if it's just building the solution myself, or if someone else on the team are more suitable for doing that.
How do you see AI and automation, as in a philosophical point of view? Do you think it's life-changing? Why?
Yeah, it's definitely.
I imagine.
Yeah, definitely life-changing. So I feel
what would you say someone that doesn't use AI in a day-to-day basis, doesn't automate in a day-to-day basis? would be your take on that?
Yeah, you'll have a very hard time competing to people that actually do it. It's really all about leverage. So, like while we're sitting here speaking, I have AI agents and AI systems literally working for me. That would be equivalent to a like whole team of tens of people just doing tasks for me at this exact moment right now. And that's like wouldn't be possible like a few years back. And we try to have that or give that same leverage to as many people as possible here. And if you as a solo founder, solo entrepreneur, or if you're running a small team or even a big company, like you should have as many people on as possible with that leverage, because just knowing that others have it, you'll have a hard time competing against them.
So you mentioned competing. So you see this age of AI and automation as a competitive advantage, or more like we can chill and have a coffee, like we would say in Spain. Meanwhile, that AI works for us. How do you see it?
It depends. So if you're really passionate about the work you're doing and the mission you're supporting, like all of us are here at Lovable, you're gonna use the time you spend, or at least a lot of it, to find more ways you can increase your leverage and the output you have from each unit of attention you spend on something. So you're gonna accelerate towards that mission rather than doing something else. But you'll also free up a lot of time to do stuff you love doing. So I feel like it's or stuff you that isn't work that you also enjoy doing. So I think it's a balance between the two, I think. So yeah.
How has your life changed, like before and after meeting with AI technology and automation?
I have more creative freedom in building stuff that should exist but doesn't yet. And I feel like there's a lot of gaps that should be filled. And I can now I'm less limited to be able to fill those gaps.
So you mentioned creative freedom. Most people would argue that AI technology is contrarian to that we don't have now human beings' creativity. How would you see that?
I think it depends if you see it as something that's going to replace you rather than something that will increase your capability to produce more things that you want to be seen. So more of a way of increasing your leverage, so you can do more with your so you can do more and execute on crazier ideas that you would before AI be limited to execute on, because you didn't have the you weren't technical enough to do it yourself, or you just didn't have the time. So I'd see it as a way of unlocking that.
Awesome. Yes, like you've been here how much? A couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself before entering this amazing
Before
offices?
entering this? Good question.
And what's something surprising perhaps that you've learned here in Lovable? Something that you thought wasn't like this, or I don't know, like the philosophy behind the company, something that you could give?
Yeah. So I think the main thing would be that there's a big difference between speed and velocity. So doing things fast and doing a lot of things rather than actually doing something that matters. So there's some cases where I spend 1 hour of work doing something that can have the same output as I would doing something for 10 hours, because it was simply something that mattered and I found the most efficient way to do that thing.
Like the things that you're doing are impacting millions of people, like literally, more or less. So what would be your advice for builders across the world? Or non-builders, you know?
Yeah. Build stuff you think should exist and get feedback really, really quickly whether it's something that matters and iterate based on that feedback to actually make it something that should exist.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm here with
Henrik.
Awesome, dude. You have a great energy. We're just talking behind the scenes. What do you do here in Lovable, Henrik?
So I'm working on our product integrations and partnerships. So how we can think about Lovable playing in the ecosystem with all other players to kind of enable our customers and our partners' customers.
How do you think your role is important to the success of Lovable?
So I think in the future, it's a lot about connectivity between systems. So for example, if I'm a customer and we're working in an Atlassian or some other type of workspace inside of our company, we want to ensure that Lovable is tightly integrated with that. So you can kind of share context from Atlassian and get into your Lovable product or the other way around.
So just for context-wise of non-techies that are listening to us, what's integrations? What's that? It's like...
So imagine you're in your company, right? And you're writing a document and you're trying to figure out like, okay, I want to build something and I'm writing down some bullet points on what that would be. But just imagine you would do that and then you can kind of press a button and say like, how would this look like? And then with that press of a button, you kind of get a live prototype from Lovable, right? And you kind of make your idea real and then you can start iterating and prompting. So having that seamless experience from a document or wherever you like to work into Lovable.
Awesome. How long have you been here in Lovable?
I'm very, very new. I've been here for roughly 2 months.
Okay. Well, very new, but 2 months in. I think in Lovable, it's like the dogs or cats age. Like 2 months is equivalent to a couple of years in the normal world.
Yeah, it's great.
So, like, first of all, what would you tell yourself 2 months ago when you arrived here as an advice to yourself? Like something...
Yeah, focus. There's like 100 different directions you can go. There's so much opportunity in front of us. But I think we really need to focus on how to set our users up for success and just like be super, super sharp on that and not run on like side quests.
Awesome. And not run on side quests. So you have also this freedom to run on side quests. You would have the capability.
Yes.
For me to understand the philosophy behind like the workload here.
And to be clear, I think that's also important to do some of that because it creates creativity. You find new ideas, you find stuff you wouldn't have otherwise, but you just have to be smart about how often you do it and how much. But compared to working at companies I've been before, you can kind of just run and get stuff done here. And it's up to you to make it successful. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like being 2 months in a company, like normally you cannot do side quests.
Yeah.
You need to gain it. So it's quite amazing that and you have the capability of doing so. We're going to what you do. How do you decide which partnerships, let's say integrations you're pursuing? What's your day in a work like for Henrik?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think what you always need to think through is kind of value to users. So how valuable would a partnership or integration be to our users? And then to make it more of a reality, you also need to think how much work would it be to make this integration work, for example. So that's usually how we think about it. So we kind of have a list of partners we would love to work with.
Okay.
And then we kind of say like high impact, but then we kind of rank it based on how easy it is to do.
Damn. Can you give us a couple of your current partners and integrations?
Yeah, it's all internal still. So yeah. So it's not released yet. So I probably don't want to commit to it before we release it.
Okay.
But the way we're thinking about it right now is the future of integrations is MCP, which is this is for the more technical people. I think it used to be APIs. That was the way you integrated with products. In the future, it's going to be MCP, which is basically how agents are connecting with each other. So if a partner has an MCP, it's very, very easy for us to connect with them. So that's kind of makes it easier. But I can't comment too much otherwise.
For example, just to get clear, for example, Supabase, that's an integration. That's something you would do, right? That's something that's quite public, right?
Yes.
So okay. Yes, for the day-to-day user of Lovable, they understand more or less.
I mean, you can imagine if you're a user of Lovable, like what are the key things you want to work like super, super well? And obviously you need Supabase, you need some type of database. You probably want to get some type of payments working if you're building a business, etc. Yeah. So just think through the things you need as a user and let us know as well. Like happy to take the feedback.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, Lovable is great at helping you get those integrations with just one click.
Yeah.
which that's I don't know if it's quite recent, but like it guides you. Like I
Yeah.
was Google Calendar, I wanted to lock it in, and it just guided me on a couple of clicks, and I did it. But yeah, I imagine this type of things are coming like directly in the platform. So that's
Yes.
awesome. One last advice or something you want to share for people in the tech world.
Oh wow, yeah, that's hard. I don't know.
What's your what's your main learning being 2 months in this hyper growth company?
I think like most people can probably move like 10x faster than they think. But you just need to be in the right environment. So maybe that's the thing.
Let's go.
Cool.
Thank you, Henry.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello, how you doing? We're here with
Moreira.
Moreira. Where is it from? It's not from here.
No, I am originally from Brazil.
Okay.
Grew up there, and yeah, now at Lovable.
Okay. What was your life like before Lovable? What were you doing?
Mostly studying and doing academic research, kind of like on the side, and then my focus on research was in code generation and like in LLMs, mostly focused to that. So it naturally converged to what Lovable is doing. That's how I heard of them, and then
Awesome.
yeah.
It was research, but you did the research by yourself, or was it an institution, a university?
It was in ETH in Zurich.
Yeah.
So it's like they have a really good department in AI, machine learning in general.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, they have especially focused on securities. I was in the SRI lab in ETH. It's like an amazing lab. Had a
Yeah.
great experience there.
Shout out. Normally, I push a lot of hate in the education system, mainly in Spain, But yeah, that's like for me, that's amazing that they're getting into it. So, how long have you been here in Lovable?
Around 3 months now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I love how everyone has to think, because I imagine it's intense 3 months.
It is really
it's
intense.
Okay.
We say that like time in like Lovable time feels like really, really fast, and like you feel like you've been here forever.
Yeah.
But in the good way.
Okay.
Definitely in the good way.
So it has been intense, right?
It has been intense. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's your key? If you could talk to the Moreira 3 months ago, 3 months and 1 day, like just before coming into the offices, what advice would you give, or what would you say? Like,
I'll just say like, kind of don't worry. Like for me, I was taking a big leap from like always being academic, doing research. I was like very like science kid, and then like don't be afraid. Like you're gonna learn on the spot. People are amazing that you work with, and it's like super exciting to be working with these people. And everything is gonna be super rewarding. Don't worry. Just go for it.
damn, awesome. What do you do? I still haven't asked that question.
So I'm a growth engineer here, which basically means I do a lot of things. It's very hard to like people have a bit of fun defining what's a growth engineer here, but yeah, a bit of everything, to be honest.
What's what things do you think have impact in the company? What are key to your success? Like we can double click so people get to know what's your day to day and what you do.
Again, it had a bit of everything over time. So for example, from making the experience of like changing plans more clear of what's like value you're getting, to, for example, we started rolling out a bit of like how do we translate Lovable? How do we make Lovable more accessible for other people? Or how do we make this UX like you don't need to think, you just go in and it feels like you're just like at home, and you can very easily create your new things, because like if you want to enable everyone to build, it needs to be like so easy.
Of course.
And it goes all the way from like being like major features to very small tweaks that like we get feedback from users that this is not intuitive, or this could be slightly better like this. And so a bit of everything, to be honest.
And now you're obviously like an insider in one of the number one software company in the world.
Yeah.
So, what's something that you thought of Lovable before entering here, if that makes sense? Will be a stereotypical thing that then you realized like, oh, it's not like this. Broad question, but
Yeah. I feel like a bit of many things. I think especially like when you're on research environment, like you value things a lot about like what's the tech. So like, is this like a technological revolution? And these are the things you necessarily buy, like is it deep tech or something like this? we have a very cool tech stack, but I think like it brought me a bit to reality that like this is not everything that takes to build a product and a successful product. And this is like, I think it's pretty insightful by itself. Like, you need to have a good idea, but you need to have good execution. You need to have people that believe in your product. And we need to have good tech, but it's like part of the thing. And it's definitely not something I thought before.
So this is, for a normal human being would be quite ironic, right? You're doing research on AI. Most human beings nowadays that, like me, for example, I do my research using AI. So how's the process of doing research like? Like, do you use the same technology? Are there some like secret books? Like, how do you get those insights, you know?
No, to be fair, is a bit open. I guess like what we want to do is like, us as consumers, we tend to just like want to believe AI, ask AI things, it's gonna give us a response that makes our lives better. But like taking a step back and always being questioning it is like, is it actually sure about what it's saying? Is it actually safe in the sense of, can it be malicious? How can we make sure it's not malicious? How can we, you know, a lot of behaviors are like, we question a lot on humans. Because like when you ask also like advice from people, when you're telling things to people, you always need to be aware, like, am I revealing too much information? Is this person biased? Are they really wanting to really just help me, or they want something out of this? And I think these are questions that I was really interested by, and this is like the direction that I was going with my research. And although this sounds really like, I don't know, like philosophical, like human like behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
You can turn that into like pretty objective scientific questions. And like, so I was really interested in like, okay, instead of necessarily analyzing like, is ChatGPT malicious? It's like, can I make a model become very slightly malicious, very slightly biased, very slightly misleading? And so yeah, it's like, though it's a pretty open-ended question, it's like really good to like take a step back, really question things like, what, this is not good because we accept it's good, because like we need to be convinced that it is, you know.
Whoa, yeah, I wouldn't expect like you should introduce yourself as AI philosopher, like directly. Like it's not like of asking those critical thinking questions, right? And seeing possible outcomes. Quite interesting. So yeah, I haven't asked this question to no one, so you're gonna give me some. How's it like? Most of the Lovable team, what I've spoken to, wears lots of hats. I'm also seeing it in you. So what's the distribution? Is it by departments? Are you all throwing it? Like what's it like? You know?
So honestly, the engineering teams now, like, they always change a bit. Very often it depends a lot on like what's the current main task.
Of course.
We have a big division between like, we have enterprise engineers. They're mostly focusing on B2C. We have growth, we have platform, we have lifecycle, and we have core. But again, it's like a bit of what needs to be done at that moment. There's a bit of ownership of each part for different teams, but it's we have many hats, and it's very good that we have many hats, to be honest.
How do you stay focused?
I think we have, like, you just need to align with like the global vision. Like we have like company-wide meetings that we're like, okay, like what we need to do.
What's the global? I'm going all in. It's Socrates mode. Like, what's the global mission then?
I guess like the global mission is just to make it really, really like simple and intuitive to build, and allow everyone to build like from end to end within Lovable. I think at least that's the vision, the mission I view currently. But when I'm saying like we're aligned on this, is more on like, okay, our next goal is to deliver this. How can every team help? Like, what can every team do to help getting there? Because if a team needs to focus more on this, maybe another team needs to take a bit more of like the normal workload of the other team. And like,
of course.
And in that sense, the fact that we can help each other whenever possible, it's like really useful in that sense. It loses a bit of structure, but allows for a lot of flexibility on how we operate.
That's awesome. How do you to ending? What would be your message for someone that doesn't use artificial intelligence in any way or form today?
If
And like, don't imagine like a boomer or old person, like an actual, you know,
Yeah.
20-something-year-old, like.
Yeah. I think I understand why some people can be skeptical about it. And again, like I love raising questions that like make us like think a bit more about it. But I think it's like the biggest productivity hack we've seen maybe
Yeah.
ever, maybe since
yeah.
like Industrial Revolution or something.
Bigger. Yeah.
That things can be done so much faster, so much more in a lean way and with high quality, right? So just to try it out, you're gonna probably see that your experience doing almost anything is much better, all the way from like your lifestyle to your work. It can make cooking easier, can make exercising easier, because now it's so accessible to have information. It can make your work be 10 times as fast. Or you can create a company instead of 10 people, you can create one of one, basically. And this is like something that like we strive to allow in Lovable as well. But just embrace it. Embrace it. It's like almost magical.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.